Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something huge, a show that just, well, exploded everywhere, Squid Game.
It really did. You couldn't escape it for a while there. Dominated everything.
Absolutely. It became Netflix's most watched series ever, which is incredible. But it felt like it just appeared overnight, sparking conversations left, right, and center. But here's the thing. What if that overnight success was actually like 10 years in the making?
Yeah. That's the fascinating part.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're unpacking the origin story of Squid Game. We looked into the research, the notes on how it was created, and it turns out it wasn't some lucky break.
Not at all.
It was this really personal, long-term passion project, rooted in some pretty intense struggles, and sharp social critiques.
Deeply rooted.
So our mission today is to explore where this incredibly powerful idea actually came from, how it changed over time, and maybe most importantly, why it hit such a nerve with so many people globally. The journey itself is almost as compelling as the show. Let's dig in.
Okay, so it's fascinating how long the seed of this idea was just sitting there. The creator, Kwang Dong-hyuk, he's a South Korean filmmaker. You might know his earlier stuff like The Fortress or Silenced.
Right. I know those. So he had this idea when?
Way back. Over a decade ago. We're talking around 2008, maybe 2009.
Wow, over a decade. That's a long time for an idea that became such a phenomenon. What was the holdup? Why didn't it get made sooner?
Well, it faced rejection after rejection for years. Studios basically thought it was too dark.
Too dark. How so?
Too violent, too bleak, and honestly, just too weird compared to what they were commissioning back then.
Okay.
And this wasn't just like a creative hurdle for Hwang. He was going through his own financial difficulties at the time.
Really?
Yeah, deeply. It actually fueled the script. He's even mentioned having to sell his own laptop while he was writing it.
Sell his laptop. Wow. That puts a different spin on it.
It does, right. That personal struggle, I mean, the creator literally living the kind of desperation the show explores, that gives it a really powerful authenticity. You feel it.
Yeah, you really can. It's like that raw experience is baked right into the story.
Yeah.
Makes you think how much of that personal struggle fuels the most powerful art.
Definitely.
And the core ideas he drew on are so clear now. This whole concept that modern society, especially with economic pressure, forces people into this brutal, almost gladiator-style competition just to survive.
A critique of capitalism, of inequality, absolutely.
But then there's that incredible twist, that chilling layer of basing these deadly games on actual Korean children's games he played, like Red Light, Green Light, Jidakji.
And Squid Game itself, the namesake.
Right. That contrast, the innocence of childhood games turned into these life-or-death struggles.
Yeah.
It's haunting.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture in South Korea, well, the show becomes this really stark, almost uncomfortable mirror.
How so specifically?
The player's desperation, their debt, that's not just made up for the plot. It reflects very real problems, massive personal debt, predatory loan sharks, the incredibly high cost of living that pushes people to the edge there.
So the fiction is directly reflecting a harsh reality. It's not just a story element, it's commentary.
Exactly.
And the class divide is so blatant. Those VIPs watching the games like it's sport.
Representing the elite, the wealthy who exploit the poor, literally for entertainment in the show, it's a pretty direct parallel to real-world class divides. Not just in Korea either.
That's true. Which brings up the question, how universal are these struggles?
Yeah.
Because they clearly resonated everywhere.
I think that's key. Characters like Gi-hun, the main character, or Se Bayok, the North Korean defector.
Okay.
They're not just characters. They represent real archetypes. People struggling with unemployment, desperation, trying to make it in this ruthless global economy.
That universality must be why it hit so hard outside South Korea. People saw their own fears reflected.
Precisely. They recognized those anxieties, even if the specifics were different.
Okay, so even with this powerful concept, rooted in real issues, getting it made was still a huge struggle. You mentioned the rejections back in 2009. What finally changed? How did it get the green light?
Right, so he wrote it in 2009, but like we said, studios passed, too violent, unrealistic. It just sat there for a whole decade.
10 years, just waiting.
Until Netflix finally said yes in 2019. And it's probably not a coincidence. This was after Parasite became a global sensation.
Ah, Parasite. Good point.
Yeah, Parasite basically proved there was a huge international audience hungry for dark, class-conscious thrillers coming out of Korea. It showed there was a market.
So the timing was crucial. The cultural appetite had shifted.
Exactly. It shows how market timing can be just as important as the idea itself. Something once seen as unrealistic suddenly became very relevant, very marketable.
That's a massive shift. It's like the world caught up to his vision. And then, talk about timing. The COVID-19 pandemic hitting in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost eerie, wasn't it?
Totally. That global crisis, in a strange way, probably amplified the show's success. Themes of isolation, economic fear, how fragile life felt.
It resonated deeply. People were grappling with those exact feelings worldwide. The show felt less like pure fiction and more like a maybe heightened reality.
Yeah, a dark reflection.
And even the name itself, Squid Game, it's not just a random title. It actually means something quite specific.
Oh, I just assumed it was named after the final game.
Well, yes, but it refers to a real Korean children's game. It's called Eshoya Ujinja Nori. Players literally fight, physically, to cross into this squid-shaped area drawn on the ground.
A real game. Huh. I didn't know that. So how does knowing that change things? What's the deeper meaning for the show's title?
Well, the symbolism is really potent. The actual kids game, just like the show's version, is aggressive. It's physical. It's winner takes all.
So the title itself is a clue.
It's a direct mirror of that brutal capitalist survival theme running through the entire series. The name is basically a tiny version of the whole premise. It's quite clever.
And once it finally landed, the impact was just immense. We mentioned it being Netflix's most watched ever. 1.65 billion hours viewed in the first 28 days.
That numbers are just mind-boggling.
But it's more than just numbers, right? It represents this huge global conversation that erupted.
Absolutely. That kind of reach, it forces conversations. People weren't just binge-watching. They were debating wealth, inequality, human nature, greed, the ethics of survival. It went way beyond just entertainment. It became a cultural event.
It definitely did. And then you had the real-life recreations, the safe ones, thankfully.
Quite minus the killing.
It became this massive meme phenomenon. It just wove itself into pop culture fabric globally.
Totally embedded.
And it's not over.
Yeah.
We know season 2 is coming, confirmed for 2024. Giyun's out for revenge, apparently.
Yeah, picking up that thread.
And there's even the spin-off reality show, Squid Game, The Challenge, a non-lethal version with a huge cash prize, which is, again, kind of a fascinating real-world echo of the show's themes, just without the fatal consequences.
It keeps the conversation going in a different way.
So bringing it all back, Squid Game really wasn't some random fluke, was it?
Yeah.
Not an overnight sensation at all.
Far from it.
It was this decade-long passion project born from some really deep personal and societal struggles. Its success wasn't just about the shock value or the violence.
No, I think it came from its brutal honesty, holding up that mirror to society, reflecting these anxieties about competition, fairness, survival, anxieties that feel pretty universal.
Yeah, anxieties many of us recognize, maybe on different scales, but they're there.
It's a really powerful reminder of how art can reflect reality and how sometimes the most personal stories born from struggle can end up speaking to the entire world.
Definitely prompts some vital discussions, which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you, our listener. If Squid Game uses something as seemingly innocent as kids' games to show us brutal competition and desperation, what other everyday games in our own lives or in society might be masking similar harsh realities? Realities of inequality or the fight for survival that maybe we don't always see clearly? How does knowing where Squid Game came from, that long, difficult journey, change how you view the show? Or maybe even how you see the world around you? Something to think about.
Definitely something to ponder.
We'll leave you with that. Until next time on The Deep Dive, keep digging deeper.